Hey everyone, Rho here. I hope you've all had a good Easter weekend. Today we're discussing the new Black Library Humble Bundle. What stories are included? Is it any good? Well, we're going to take a look. As always, this is not a sponsored video. Whenever I find out there's a new bundle of stories going on, I always like to check them out and to let you guys know. And a big thank you to Sam for dropping me the message to let me know about this bundle. As of recording this upload, there are 17 days left of this bundle to check it out. So without further delay, let's just jump straight in. Okay, so over on humblebundle.com they have a new Black Library bundle currently on offer. Tales of the Space Marine Chapters 2022. Now, first thing to mention, while it states book bundle here, it does mean ebooks. These are ebooks. You can download them straight to your computer or whatever device it is you're using. These are not physical books we are talking about here. Now, a quick explanation of what Humble Bundles are for anybody new. I know most of us are veterans of this by now, but let's spare a minute for those that aren't. The way it works is that Humble Bundle and Black Library have put together a collection of 24 Black Library titles, and they are at a big discount to their usual price. The collection is broken down into 3 tiers or selections: 6 titles, 14 titles, and lastly the full 24. As you can see, the 6 item selection is 76p here for me in the UK. The 14 item selection is £7.62. And finally the full 24 item bundle is £13.71. So, I can choose to buy the 6 item selection, for example 76p, or I can pay the £13.71 and get all 24 ebooks. Now, a portion of the proceeds on these Humble Bundles do go towards charity. So as you can see, it says pay at least, because you can choose to pay a higher amount if you wish. And with that out the way, now is time for the fun part, as we take a look at the titles included. As you may have guessed by the Tales of the Space Marine chapter's name, this bundle appears to be dedicated entirely to the Warhammer 40k universe, which, hey, is always good. And first thing I noticed is they've got quite a few older stories included here. There's actually quite a lot that I haven't read for myself. So let's begin with the first 6. We have Salamander. Now this is book 1 of the Tome of Fire trilogy, which is basically the Salamander's equivalent of the Uriel Ventris Ultramarine stories or the Blood Angels trilogy, for example. For me, these old omnibuses make great first introductions to Black Library novels. If you're new, these are a great place to start. They are a little older now, so they are set before the return of Guilliman and the destruction of Cadia, but they aren't too over the top with the description and terms that you can sometimes get in 40k novels, so they really make great starting points for me. And you do get the rest of the Tome of Fire trilogy in the other tiers here, so it's a good little collection in its own right. Now there is also Juicing Carmine, which is the first book of the Blood Angels series as well. However, this is the only installment included in the bundle. If you enjoy it and you want to carry on with the Blood Angels series, you'll have to buy the rest of the novels separately. But it's worth knowing that the journey continues if you do enjoy that one. Now the rest of this selection I haven't read, so I can't give you my opinion on them. We've got Savage Scars, so you know that's going to pique my interest straight away. The forces of the greater good have established a stranglehold on the planet, and the time has come for the Imperium to move against them. The White Scars lead the ground assault against the Tau, launching into combat with speed and fury. shedding blood as they gain ground against their enemies. Meanwhile, the members of the Crusade Council are determined to pursue their own agendas, and their politicking and backstabbing will place the entire war effort in jeopardy. Well, sounds quite interesting and your kind of standard run-of-the-mill 40k adventure there, so hopefully that's a good one. We've got Victories of the Space Marines and Heroes of the Space Marines, which looks to be a couple of short story anthologies. We have Grey Knights. On the world of Corian 9, a demon hunter Mandulis of the Grey Knights is locked in a titanic battle with the demon prince Gargatulov in a fight that costs him his life. Mandulis appears to banish the foul demon back to the warp for 1,000 years. A millennium later, Justicar Alaric of the Grey Knights leads an elite team of his brothers to put paid to a prophecy which heralds Gargatulov's return. FYI, I haven't looked up any reviews here, so I don't know which you guys think are good and which you think are bad. I'm simply going by my own opinion of these descriptions, and of course the ones that I've read. For me, that one does sound quite interesting. Always good getting more Grey Knights lore, there's no doubt about that one. And now moving on to Tier 2, we have the second Salamanders trilogy book Firedrake, another anthology Legends of the Space Marines. A little Dark Angels action with Angels of Darkness. Let's take a look at the description of this. Dark Angels interrogator chaplain Boreas and his men protect the recruiting world of Persona 5, watching over those who will be the next generation of Dark Angels. But when the chapter's greatest secret, the existence of the Fallen, warriors who turned against their brothers 10,000 years before, comes to light, Boreas' own past interrogating one of these traitors comes back to haunt him, with tragic consequences. This one actually sounds familiar. I may have read this one before. This may be one of those ones that you start reading and you realise halfway through chapter 1 that you actually have already read it. Moving on though, we've got a Chaos Space Marines anthology, Treacheries of the Space Marines, Ultramarines, which appears to be an anthology focused on the boys in blue, The Eye of Medusa, which is book 1 of an Eye in Hand series. I've not read this one myself yet, but it's good knowing that this is the beginning of a series. One of those ones that, if you enjoy it, there is more you can look into. Probably the two that grab my attention most here for Tier 2 though, is Silver Skull's Portent and Scythes of the Emperor. I haven't read them, so that's probably a big reason why. But I like the novels that focus on chapters outside the obvious mainstream. So whenever I see a successor story, I always look into those, that we may get a little piece of lore that reveals something we didn't know before. If any of you have read either of those two, drop what you thought about them in the comments, as those two are definitely piquing my interest. Now lastly, moving on to the final Tier 3, where all of them are included. We have Nocturne, the final installment of the Salamanders trilogy, Urdesh, the Serpent and the Saint. The mighty world of Urdesh is burning. The smoke of war mingles with that of her many volcanoes. The wreckage of battle litters her forged cities and chokes her fertile seas. Until the warriors of the Imperium can free Urdesh from the grip of the Anarch, the future of the entire Sabbat world's crusade will hang in the balance. Across these ashen battlefields strides brother Captain Priad and the warriors of Damocles' squad. They must keep safe one of the Imperium's greatest weapons, the Beate, the reincarnated Saint Sabbat herself, whose very presence on Urdesh inspires the Imperial armies onto glory. Okay, that one sounds pretty interesting. Again, I haven't read this one, but anything involving a saint definitely sounds good. Moving on, we have Deathwing, which appears to be another anthology. I would assume with the name it's dedicated to the Dark Angels, but the description doesn't actually say either way here. Going to go out on a limb with the name and say obviously this is Dark Angel focused. But if it's not, hey, I may be wrong, it's not actually saying in the comments. Blood of Asaheim. Now this is the beginning of Chris Wraight's Space Wolves series, so another great starting off point if you are interested in the Sons of Russ. And well, why wouldn't you not be? We have Death Watch, which is, as you may have guessed, focused on the Death Watch. Okay, Red Tithe. Now this is a hugely popular story, quite obviously focused on the mysterious Space Sharks chapter. And they're taking on the Night Lords in this one to boot. This one I have read and I can definitely recommend it as a good read. Moving on, we have Shrike. I don't think this one needs an explanation. Blood of Ajax. Now this one's another fairly recent release over the past few years. However, the absolute star of the entire bundle, Spear of the Emperor. This one I had heard the hype about. I went into it skeptical, and it still absolutely blew me away. We have to read the description for this one. The scattered worlds of the Ilara's Veil Nebula were once protected by the Oath of Unity sworn by 3 mighty chapters of the Astartes. The Star Scorpions were undone by flaws in their genetic coding. The Celestial Lions were ravaged by the Inquisition for sins they did not commit. Now, after hundreds of years, only the Emperor's spears still keep their vigil. They are barbarian watchmen against the outer dark, blooded but unbroken in their long duty. Amadeus Caius Incarius, a brother of the Mentor Legion, is commanded to cross the Great Rift and assess the spear's war readiness, only to be drawn into the chaotic plight of a depleted crusade on the Imperium's benign frontier. The decisions he makes, far from the God Emperor's light, will decide the fate of the war-torn chapter. Well, whether you like that description or not, trust me, it is an amazing read. The author ADB did absolutely everything right in this one. It doesn't try and tell too many stories all at once. It keeps it simple, focusing on the characters that matter. And as a result, you have a cast of characters that you truly connect with. Absolutely a standout read for me. If there's one title you read from this collection, you definitely have to make it this one. Hey, that may be not fair because I haven't read many of these titles, but trust me, you will not be disappointed in this one. However, finally, last but by no means least, we have the Crusaders of Dawn. Anything Black Templar focused is always going to be interesting, so let's check out the description. For 10 millennia, the Black Templars have continued the Great Crusade, remaining true to the Emperor's dream of a galaxy free of the alien, the traitor and the mutant. One of the few chapters to venerate the Emperor as a god. They strive always to follow his example and secure his Imperium for all mankind. This anthology showcases 7 tales of the sons of Sigismund, including an exploration of High Marshal Helbrecht's First Crusade, and 3 stories from the Third War for Armageddon. Okay, well that's good I read that description because I was not expecting it to be an anthology. This bundle definitely anthology heavy, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, as you're kind of getting more stories for your buck. But overall, that's the full collection. A lot of stories I personally haven't read, so I can't give you my full complete opinions on them all. Overall, it does seem to me like a pretty solid selection. Again, for me, there's some good starting points for those newer readers included here. Maybe 1 or 2 you've most likely already read if you're an experienced reader, but some definite highlights included. Again, none more so than the Spear of the Emperor for me. However, that's it for today guys. If you get it, I hope you enjoy some of the reads. Huge thank you as always to all my subscribers. Your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. With that said, I am off and I'll see you all again real soon.